Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I hope you all are having a fabulous day thus far. It is really good to be living. That's number one. So come on in and take a load off. We want to inspire and motivate and encourage you. I'm super excited about our guest on today to glean from her, this awesome woman, taking the time out of her busy schedule to share with us what it means to be. I'm sharing the video, and once I share it, I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself, and then we're going to go right on through the interview.
Right.
All right, all right. So we've shared it. Once again, you all, thank you for tuning in to the Josilyn Drake Show. I am your host, Josilyn Drake. I am so excited that you're tuning in with us today. And beyond anything, I'm excited about my guest. Her name is Benita Bellamy, now Kelly. Yes, Benita
Yeah.
Bellamy Kelly. When I met Benita, she was Benita Bellamy. The Lord has blessed her with a union, and now she's a married woman. And I'm so excited for her. I'm excited for her to talk to us today about her new book entitled Born to Be. And I thought that was the title just really captivated me because I think that the beingness is one of the most greatest gifts that we could ever get. If we could just get to that place of just being, like not doing, but just being. So she's going to share with us today, like, how do you get there? What does that entail? What does that mean? Help me welcome to the Jocelyn Drake Show, Mrs. Benita Belly Kelly.
Hey. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. It's so good to see you. Yeah, like you said, we met each other years ago, and I got the privilege to work with you on some of your music, and I'm just happy to be here with you. And congrats on the show. I've been following it. I'm like, oh, sister got a show now. Oh. So that is good. I'm glad you're continuing to expand yourself, your ministry, and let people really kind of enjoy you and the wonderful woman that you are. So congrats to you on this show. Thank you for having me on. I do not take it for granted. I don't take your time for granted. I am honored to be here and just to talk to everybody, and just that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk. I like to talk. I don't like to be real formal. I just like to share and talk and be real. And hopefully, some of the stuff maybe that I've been through or that I know may encourage somebody or help somebody. So that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. I'm in Nashville. It's I'm still kind of. It's Friday. I'm still drinking coffee. So I'm still trying to get my mojo on for today.
Yes.
But it's great to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Benita. I met Benita, as she mentioned. Some of you may not know, but I'm a gospel artist, and probably in 2011, 2012, I think it is, I released my first single, and it began to chart the Billboard, gospel Billboards
Mm-hmm.
chart, and I was floored because I was a newbie, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And the second song that I released actually went all the way to the top 50. Which was such a blessing.
Yeah.
That song it's crazy just to be able to do
Yeah.
that. And so it began to put me into this realm that I was unfamiliar with. I had studied the music business, and I knew that I needed a team. I needed somebody there that knew that world, and but most of all, I could trust somebody that had integrity. And so I prayed and I pursued and I Googled myself to death, and I came across Benita Bellamy. She's a woman who is straight to the point, a woman who has integrity and character. Her name is well known in the gospel music industry and the Christian music industry, just the music industry, period. Many connections, have worked with many wonderful people, and she may share with you what that is. But when I met Benita in Nashville, just her no nonsense. I think I love that because you don't have to guess anything about who she is. It's there in a nice, non-cynical way, but it's there, and you got the idea that she's a woman of integrity who doesn't take a whole lot of mess off of you. And so, and I was excited to have her, and she's very particular about the clients she bring on, and so for her to accept my music ministry and help me walk through that and navigate that season was just a blessing from the Lord. And I want to say publicly, I truly appreciate you for
Well,
all of that.
you. You're welcome. My pleasure. My
So,
pleasure. And I love working with new artists and artists who really want to do this, and want to do it not just for the fame of it, to really, because one, they have a gift, and two, they want to see people changed. And I saw that in you right away. And you're so pretty and cute. I was like, oh, Josilyn. And so, yeah, it was a joy to work with you. And hopefully we can do some more in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And real soon. So, Benita, tell us about the Bellamy Group. We're going to get into the book, but let people know like who you are and what you do and why you can talk about our subject on today.
All right, yeah. Well, my company is called the Bellamy Group. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, where everything goes down. And it's not all country, like people think. There's a lot of country music here, but Nashville is a music mecca. I mean, it is. There's a lot going on here from music and arts, and a lot of gospel music. We have a lot of artists that live here, a lot of record labels and recording studios and companies here. And I actually got my start with a company here in Nashville. I'm a Tennessee girl. I'm a Southern country girl. I grew up in a little town called Elizabethton, Tennessee, in East Tennessee, way over in the mountains, with a little bitty town this big. And I made my way to the big city, to Nashville, and I started working for a company called EMI Christian Music Group as a secretary. And I really didn't know anything about music business, nothing. I really didn't. I was at that time divorced and a single mother, had an infant, and I needed a job. So I applied for this job. I got the job, and started learning about music business at EMI Christian Music Group. And at that time, they had just started a label called EMI Gospel. So I was able to learn and work with artists and develop artists like Smokey Norfolk, Lamar Kimball, Spirit of Praise, Darwin Hobbs, Donna Lawrence and the Tri-City Singers. And that's where I learned it all. I learned everything there. I just kept eating up and learning and learning and learning, and just everything I could get my hands on to learn more about the industry and how to do it correctly and with integrity. I learned it at EMI. And many years later, that was 21 years ago. And about 12 years ago, fast forward, worked for a couple other record labels. I moved to DC for a while and worked at a reggae label doing reggae music. Oh, wow. That was interesting. But I learned so much about music, again, just learning and taking it all in and trying to learn everything I could about just music in the industry overall. Learned a lot working at the reggae label, moved back to Nashville to work for E1 Records, and decided to do my own thing after that. I honestly had no intentions to do it. I was kind of done with music in the industry, and was sitting in my kitchen with bills stacking up and with tears in my eyes, trying to figure out what's next for my life, and just praying, and the phone's ringing. People started calling me, wanting me to help them. And that was people like independent artists, because at that time when I left the record labels, music shifted. There was this thing called an MP3 that happened. And, it shifted the economy and e-commerce in music, and labels were not making money off of artists like they were. And they were letting artists go and reformatting their labels. And now all these independent artists were out there with no home and trying to figure out how to promote themselves. So my phone started ringing, and I said, well, God, if this is what you want me to do, I will do it. Just guide me and show me how to do it, and bring the people to me that you want me to work with and serve, and I'll do it. And from that day forward, people just kept calling me, and I started the Bellamy Group. We're not a record label, but we do everything that a record label does. By I guess formal words, we're a marketing and publicity company. But we do artist development, because I learned how to develop new artists by working at EMI and other labels. So I know what it takes for a new artist to get started in this industry and to have a career of longevity in this industry. There's things that artists need to do, not just go in studio and record a song, put it on iTunes. There's more to it than that. So I do that with a lot of independent and new and aspiring artists. And there are times when I crush dreams. Don't mean to, but you have to be ready for this. It's not for everybody. This industry is not for everybody, because there's a difference. There's a business industry side of it, and then there's a ministry side of it. If you're called to do ministry, go. Don't let nobody get in your way. Go. Just go for God. Being an artist is a little different. It just takes a set of steps and procedures and protocols and things that you have to do in order to, and some people don't want to use this word, compete. Yeah, it's a business. So there's a competitive side to it, on the business side, not the ministry side, but on the business side. So we, as the Bellamy Group, handle that business side and help artists navigate this industry, teach them how to do it, get them launched, get their brands, help them to really pull their brand together, brand identity, and get them hopefully launched on a career for a long time in gospel music. So that's what the Bellamy Group does. I am the Bellamy and I'm the group. I do have some part-time help, and I have a lot of interns. But we do most of the work here in Nashville, but we're worldwide. I've had clients in Trinidad and Tobago, from the UK. I've had clients all over the place. We send clients out everywhere. So we try to do as much as we can to serve and support artists.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, guys. And it impressed me because I had a photo shoot after she came on and agreed to work with me. And she came to Nashville. She came from Nashville to Birmingham just to ensure that my photo shoot was where it needed to be. And I was beyond impressed. I'm like, she's traveling down this highway to make sure that everything goes well. I mean, impeccable and of excellence. And what I want to do now is ask you about, what is the book Born to Be about? Can you just tell us how did this come about?
Sure. I would say I kind of always thought I would do a little bit more than just music or music marketing. My background actually is classical piano and dance. I used to own a dance school and teach arts, but life happened and I got kind of, pushed into a different direction, into music and music marketing. But I've always had a creative side to me. I've always loved to create, write, perform. I always thought I would write a book, but I'm like, one day when I get old and retire, I'll write a book. And so it came about because I started putting little quotes on Facebook. I, for one, I do a lot of social media because I have to. It's part of my job. Actually, it kind of annoys me because there's so much on social media, and a lot of it is nonsense, and a lot of it is negative, and a lot of it is just, it's clutter. So I was like, you know what? Let me just start putting some good stuff up here and kind of encouraging people. So I started putting up quotes. This was maybe 7-8 years ago when I first got on Facebook. Just started putting up little quotes, y'all be happy and talk about let's be happy today, or be, whatever you're going through, you can be resilient. You can bounce back from this. Be resilient. And then I added a scripture and just kept encouraging people, and people started liking it. So I'm like, well, let me keep a track of these. And I kept a track of them and did about 20 or so on Facebook. And I thought, you know what, this may be a book. I said, Lord, are we going to write a book? And he's like, yeah, I'll write the book. So I started writing the book maybe about 5 years ago and just could never find time to finish it. I was working. I was a mama, single mama. My daughter was in high school and running me all over the place. Business, I was traveling a lot. I just could never find time for me and to sit down and write it and do it. And, just every once in a while I'd take a stab at it. But along came a man called Kevin Kelly, who I had known for 15 plus years in the industry. I knew him from his brother's group, Chris and Kyle, True Spirit, and just him being in the industry and being a drummer and all that stuff. I knew him, but we had lives, whatever. And we had reconnected one day through a need to do a conference in Omaha. He was working in Omaha at the time, and kind of, it's a long story, but that's how I met my husband, re-met my husband, is we connected through ministry, and got married. We dated for a while, and I got married almost 3 years ago. And in beginning of our marriage, and even when we dated, he was always just, he was my biggest fan and just wanted me to be well and do well. And he was always just encouraging me to do everything and do that. He was just always supportive. And, I said, well, I've been trying to write this book. So he would make me take time out to go to Starbucks and just write the book. Just go write the book. Don't just go. Just focus on your book. And then, I go, did you write some of your book today? Did you write on your book today? So he just really encouraged me to finish it. And I finished it. And I called it Born to Be. And it is a 31-day devotional. Every chapter is about being something. Because I truly believe we are all here on purpose. We are all here in purpose too. And God has given us who we're supposed to be. And I know from experience that sometimes you can get sidetracked. Life can kick you in the tail. I like being real. Life can turn upside down. You can sabotage yourself. You can do some stupid stuff, and it takes you off course sometimes of who you were intended to be. And this really is a lot of my personal stories about some stuff I've been through, about how I got off track and my failures and my heartbreak. But every time I had to just come back to God and say, okay, God, this is not who you created me to be. You created me to be a winner, a warrior, a queen, and whatever I, need to do to help people to understand that you are an amazing person. You are born to be great. You are born to be an iconic person. I wrote it down and put it in words, and hopefully, it will inspire people. It's an easy read. I don't go real deep. You don't have to get out a biblical thesaurus or anything. So it's for everybody. It's for men. It's for women. It's for young people. It's for old people. And this is the book, Born to Be. I wrote it, got it finished. God allowed me to finish it. I love this book for so many ways. One, just because he allowed me to share my life, and just to encourage people, because I know there were many times when I needed encouragement. I didn't have anybody around me to encourage me. And I want people to be encouraged, whatever it is, whether it's, men, women, if you're going through bad times, good times, whatever it is. I promise you, there's something in here that can encourage you. And even it's a family affair. My brother, did all the photography. I just took pictures from some of his travel and this is actually from my home where I grew up in the hills of East Tennessee. So it is near and dear to me. This book has even photos from family and my brother. My husband helped me finish it just by his encouragement, and God gave me the words to share with people, and 31 days of encouragement, Born to Be. Yeah.
Awesome. As I stated earlier, there's nothing more greater than just being. Like, and it's a journey to get there, because we're taught that it's about doing, and it is. I'm not saying that you don't do. What I'm saying, though, to do out of the place of being is phenomenal. Like, there is no comparison, because at that point, you're minding your business. Like, you're not worried about everybody else's. You're not trying to be no one else. You're just being. And in that place, you find that there's some circles that I just don't fit in with. And I'm okay with that. There are some companies, there are some businesses, there are some places, there are some friendships, there are some relationships that I just don't fit in. And I'm okay with that, because I'm good with just being who I am. And there's a settlement and a peace that comes from just being. Can you talk to us a little bit more, to people, young people, old people? Because as you mentioned, just because you're a certain age, it doesn't mean that you've arrived. Life takes us along some journeys, and there are some things that we haven't been exposed to that we should have been exposed to, and it detours us, or it keeps us stuck. Can you kind of help us out of your book, even if you wanted to read some things, just how does a person that's been walking around trying to be everything that she feels or he feels that mother wanted them to be, dad wanted them to be, or their friends want them to be, or the company says you has to be, or a group of race people say you have to be this way, so on and so forth. There's just so many, as you say, so much clutter that goes on in the world that you have to decipher and maneuver through, so you can finally get to this place to say, this is me unapologetically. I'm not here to compete. I'm not here to compare. I can genuinely celebrate what God is doing in your life, and be glad about mine too. So can you help us? Like, how does a person get to that place? I know your book specifically 31 days will help us to begin to journey to that place. But what I also can understand is that that book is not like a one-time thing. It's something that you can literally go every 30 days and read it. So talk
Right.
to us a
Go
little
back
bit
to
more
it.
about that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, Jocelyn, in this time and age, because of social media and all of our accessibility, we see what everybody else is doing. And we tend to compare ourselves from if you're in high school and, you know, you're comparing yourself to all the dudes in school and what they're doing, the athletes, and you're not an athlete, to grown women like ourselves who may, you know, be in this competitive industry with other business women, and you see them excelling and getting promoted and doing all this stuff. And we tend to compare, and that what is for us is for us. What's for you, Jocelyn, is for you. It's not for me. I can't compare myself to you. God designed you for you and has your destiny lined out. He already knows everything about you and what you're going to be, do, and accomplish. It's the same for me. What I cannot tap into what you're doing and try to compete or be like you. That's not for me. So I learned that, you know, there was even in gospel music, it's very competitive. And there were times when I thought I wasn't good enough, and many times I was left out of stuff. Many times, you know, I saw other executives, especially women executives, doing things, and was like, well, where am I? What about me? You know, I had to put blinders on. I had to just be like, okay, focus on what God has you doing right now. You need to focus on that, not what everybody else is doing. And there's a chapter in the book that talks about this. It's like, you know, don't try to water the grass. The grass may look greener on that side of the fence, but you got to water your own grass. That grass is for you. Don't worry about what that grass is. It may be green, plush, Kentucky Fescue 50, whatever it is. But you have to water your own grass and work on being the best you that God created you to be. And that may require us to shut off Facebook, to put blinders on, to go and turn everything off and just focus on some task at hand. Because if you keep trying to compare yourself, you're going to drive yourself crazy. It will. Trust me, I've been there. I drove myself crazy. I did. Just thinking about why me? Well, what are they? You don't do that. So, you know, for me, I just tell everybody you have to focus and put blinders on, regardless of what it is. If you're an athlete, if you're a businesswoman, if you are an artist, if you are a pastor, there's a lot of pastors competing with each other. Whatever you're doing, you cannot judge or gauge your level of success by anyone else's. That's not for you. You've got to focus on what your path is and what God needs you to do. And some of the problem with us getting off track is that we don't listen to God. We don't commune with him. We don't pray. We don't get in the word. We don't listen. We don't take time to slow down and listen to what God is telling us, because he'll tell us what we need to do. He'll show you every single thing you need to do to be competitive, if it's the competitive thing, or to win, or to be whatever it is. But we have to take the time out to quit looking at everybody else and look at God. Go to him for answers. Go to him for guidance. Go to him for the strategic moves. I tell you, if you just allow God to set you up, he will give you some strategic moves. Trust me, because there have been some times when I'm like, I don't have a clue. I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm sad. But Lord, fix it. Do it. I'm going to sit here and wait. And he did it because I got out of the way and let him do it. So I think that's what we have to do. And kind of segueing, part of being able to put those blinders on and focus on you and not everybody else is bouncing back from that, what you let seep in, the negativity, the self, not having confidence in what you're called to do. That'll get you. It'll throw you into some very depressive states. It'll throw you into some moments when you just have no confidence whatsoever, but you got to bounce back. And one thing that I've always clung to is my mom always told me, because I've been through some stuff. I've been through some stuff. I don't look like what I've been through. My mom would always tell me, you are resilient. You just have to keep being resilient. And that's one of the first chapters I wrote, was to be resilient. And I'm going to read a little bit of that because I think this is kind of what kind of sums this up for me and a lot of people. But this is day 3 of Born to Be. It's real short, so stay with me, people. Okay, you were born to be resilient. And I always start each chapter off with a quote. And the quote for this chapter is, endure, rise, win. Sums it up. Now, when your heart is breaking, lean into the pain, go through it, and come out healed. We can only achieve this by tapping into the power of resilience that God provides each of us in times of trouble. Having gone through 2 divorces, I said it, 2, child, 2. Being a single mother, being evicted. Yeah, I was evicted. Been homeless before with a child. Yeah, I have. Don't let all this fool you. Like I said, I've been through some stuff. And even a sexual assault. Been through that. And the last thing that really kind of tipped my life into a really crazy whirlwind was being in a abusive marriage. One would honestly want to give up. I wanted to give up more times than I can really recall. While encouraging me one day, my mother turned to me and said, Benita, you are resilient. Somehow, after each life-altering experience, I would rise. After losing it all, I would rise. After my heart shattered into pieces, I would rise. After the loss of my self-worth and dignity, I would rise. In the midst of one of my storms, I was told by one of the mothers of church that life tragedies are all temporary. And I have clung to her words. It's temporary. And I say to you, your storm is temporary. Your brokenness is temporary. You must be resilient and fight with the strength that God gives you to make it through every single challenge. His word promises that storms will come. It promises that. But furthermore, he promises to keep us during those storms. I like to repeat that. He promises to keep us during our storms. Pray through it. Press through it. Sing through it if you have to. Your storm will run out of steam, I promise. Giving up is not an option. Victory is in you. You were born to be resilient. And the scripture for that day is 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. That is why we never give up. Though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are small and won't last very long. It's temporary. Yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them all and will last forever. So we don't look to our troubles we can see now. Rather, fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things that we see now will soon be gone. Thank you, Jesus. But the things we cannot see will last forever. That's being resilient.
Okay, I'm not gonna cry. That was I absolutely
and it gets me too. Don't cry, because I'm gonna cry too.
I mean, to go through things like that and not look, like you said, what you come out of is simply amazing. Like people, you hear that all the time. People see your glory, but they don't know your story.
Amen.
And that is awesome.
Yeah, you never know what people are going through. That's why I never take anybody for granted. I try with all my heart, even on my worst day, to try to be kind to everybody, because you never know. A smile might bring somebody out of depression. How are you doing? How are you doing? Or a call or a text may prevent them from doing something bad to themselves, because you never know what people are going through, regardless of how they look on Facebook. Facebook is a facade. I need y'all to quit relying on Facebook. That doesn't give a real glimpse into the lives of people. So take time to really, reach out to people and see how they're doing, because you never know. You just never know.
Absolutely. Oh, I love your heart, Benita. I could just remember, I think the process that you've gone through allows you to flow in the circles that you do the way that you do. There are people who have the connections, the resources, have been in some rooms, and the things that you have been able to do, the boards and the places you do, things you do behind the scenes, the power that God has given you of influence in the industry, would have a head like so big that we probably couldn't walk in the door. You know what I'm saying? And guys, I know personally, Benita, when she was being my publicist, has put me through some doors. I can remember we were going to, she had me on this tour. I went to Nashville. I had about three radio interviews that day. Then we went to the CMAs. It's the Christian Music association for
Mhm.
our sisters and brothers of another color, but
Yep.
it's getting multicultural. But she flows in both. She can go from the Stellas to the CMAs, which CMAs is the Dove Awards to the Stella Awards,
You
and
may. Mhm. Yep.
she
Yep.
took me, brought me on in, and we went to the Dove Awards, and I was up in the the box looking from
VIP suite,
yes,
girl.
in the VIP suite with people like Tamala Mann and Ty Tribbett and all these well-known industry people in the room. Everybody knowing Benita, taking me to the back to the press room where Erica Campbell and the other CMA people were doing interviews. I got a chance to do an interview, walking the red carpet, just all of that. And she's worked with people like, Bishop Jakes, Shirley Caesar, so on and so on, Ben Tankard, and so on, and the list goes on. But to still walk with humility and grace
Yeah.
shows a woman that has been processed. See, sometimes we'll understand we need to be processed so that we can continue to give God glory for the doors that He
Yep.
allows us in. If not, again, as I mentioned earlier, our heads would be like, whew,
Yeah.
humongous. So, what has it been like for the bulk of your years into the music industry? You were a single woman, a single
Ooh.
mother. How was that flowing in those spaces as a woman,
Yeah.
first of all, and then as a single woman, second of all, and then as a Black woman, third of all?
Yeah. Ooh. Like, where do I start? I will say there were some tough moments. And today even I tell people, well, I quit last week, but I'm back.
Yeah.
I've quit a whole bunch of times.
You've been quitting since you were working with me. You were quitting.
I've been quitting.
I remember we were headed to the we left Nashville after the CMA Awards. I was stayed at her house. We got up that morning, took a plane, and went to Las Vegas. We had some things to do there. She had me on programs in Las Vegas and things like that. She was quitting in. I mean, something she.
No, I've been quitting for about 10 years now,
Yes.
but I'm still here. But yeah, and some of those moments really, there have been some hard moments. Let's take it and address it. One, as a woman in this industry, most of the executives are men. Most of the label heads are men. Most of the, the higher ups are men. So we as women, we have to fight harder. We have to work harder. We had to be better. We had to be more present. We had to do everything, more. I saw that out the gate. But one thing I was not going to do is sacrifice my integrity to be more. And I really had to work hard and go the extra mile and, do everything twice as big and twice as long and twice as everything in order to really keep moving my career up. But one thing that has kept me is doing it the way God requires me to do it. There were many times when I could have done payola with radio and paid radio and done that, but no, God said no, that's not how we do things. There were many times that I could, let's just be real, that I could have slept with so and gone to bed with so and let me just be clear, we're gonna be transparent with adults, pastors, artists, industry people, all that. I've had all kind of opportunities. But God said no. And let me just take it back. My daddy didn't raise me like that. I'm still afraid of my daddy. What my daddy and my mama gonna say? I was raised in a household, one, that believed in God and believed in the commandments, and we believed in treating people well, and we believed we were taught to behave, and to do everything with integrity, whatever it was, from playing softball to being in church to work. Do it with integrity. Don't let anything come bad on your name. That's what Paul Bellamy and Pat Bellamy taught me. So beyond being obedient to God, I'm still obedient. As a 51-year-old woman, I'm still obedient to my parents. I don't want them to look at my career and say, well, she got that way by doing this. No, she got that way by being good to people and working hard and doing it with integrity and not playing the dirty book, because there's, even in gospel, there's a whole bunch of folks out there doing it now. That's never going to be me. I will get a number one hit. by working it, not by paying for it. I will get an artist on a show by that artist being great and us being prepared, not by sleeping with somebody. And those have been the challenges. And with every woman in this industry, especially a single woman, I've had to stand my ground. And let me just say, even when I was at EMI, let me just tell you a story. I started, after I was moved up from being a secretary, I went into radio promotions. And that's how I learned to do really everything, is being a radio promoter at EMI Gospel. And I was traveling with everybody. I was on the road with Smokey, with Donald, with everybody. I mean, I was gone a lot. And it had gotten to the point that I was getting propositioned so much. And men were trying to, come see me, come to my room, finding out I was in a city, or, pastors hitting on me and all this stuff, that they started having me travel with another employee, because it's like, I can't even fight these men off. It was that bad. And that's sad to me, that was kind of a heartbreaking moment, that you have men of the cloth, people in gospel music behaving badly. It exists. It just does. And, I'm not sitting here calling, people what they are and saying I'm not a perfect person. I made a whole bunch of mistakes. But in order for you to really elevate your career and stay in this, you have got to function with a level of integrity. Your name precedes you. Your name goes before any work will ever go before. Like, people will see my name before they know any artist that I'm working with. They will see my name before they read a word that I've written in a press release. So if it's attached to shystiness, what am I going to do? And for me, that reflects on you, the artist. Whatever my status is out there in the world, I represent you. So, as for artists, I always tell somebody, build your team, but make sure your team functions with the level of integrity, because the way they behave is going to reflect on you. And I've seen it where you have to deal with the manager who is just, and now you don't want to book the artist because you had to deal with the manager. You can't, no. So, besides God, my mom, my dad, I have to represent myself well for my artists, because we are here as kingdom representatives. We're representatives of God, and we are to behave accordingly. I think I strayed a little bit. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it
started
does.
talking.
I could just only imagine how just being a woman, a single woman, and navigating those places. And you do have a choice of what type of woman you want to be.
It's a choice.
Yes, and in that you have to trust, if he promised you something, that he's able to do it without you violating his word. Like, so there's always that you're going to be presented with opportunities, and you always have a choice as to whether or not I'm going to go with God, or I'm going to just kind of, go with myself. I'm going to have some Ishmaels. I'm going to create some things for myself. If I just do this, if I can just get this one opportunity, no, it's just sleeping with somebody one time. It's not going to hurt anything. But those doors are never good doors for you.
Right.
And
right.
So
and you said it's a choice, and your career is based upon the choices you make. And I always didn't do everything right. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't, and I had to learn from that. And that's what's made me who I am today, is not just trying to live right and be a person and a businesswoman of integrity, but by making the stupid mistakes, and by falling into the traps, and thinking that I had to do something that I really didn't have to do for the sake of being elevated. So it's a choice. And then you mentioned earlier about even being a Black woman in this industry, and some of the crossover work that I do. And it's unfortunate that our Christian music is so divided racially, culturally. Every genre, you think about gospel music, Black, Southern gospel, white, CCM, white, it's divided. And that's not what the kingdom of God looks like in real. We're not divided. God doesn't divide us up into worship genres and hip hop genres and Southern gospel genres. He doesn't. That's not his intent. And I do a lot of work over in the CCM side, which is typically white music, white Christian music. And I'm working with a Southern gospel group now on something, and I have started working with Latin Christian artists. And even in trying to bridge that cultural divide, many times at the Gospel Music Association, GMA, I was the only Black woman in the room. That got old. That got real old real quick. And of course, it's getting better, and times are changing, and we are collaborating and doing more, but it's still not enough. And that has been a challenge to not only be a woman in this industry, a Black woman in this industry, and a Black woman in music, period, where there are times when you are the only woman or the only Black woman in the room. I've been the only woman on a bus full of men on tour. I've been the only woman in the boardroom trying to figure out and make decisions. I've been the only woman in the room with all white artists and white publicists. And that shouldn't stop us. That has really that's kind of kept me motivated to keep going and to encourage other people to step out and not just cast a lot of times I'll hear people say, well, CCM don't like Black people. CCM, they don't want us. No, that's not totally true. What are you basing that off of? Because first of all, you've got to step out and be open. You've got to step out and extend an olive branch. Sometimes you can't wait on somebody to extend an olive branch to you to be a part of something. It's up to each and every one of us to bridge any cultural divide that exists with us. So I say to artists that are trying to break into different genres, go for it, but understand the perimeters, understand what you're stepping into, and don't get so frustrated and discouraged. If you're not welcomed with open arms at first, it's a process and it takes time. That's part of networking and building relationships. It takes time to build relationships. I've worked in this industry 22 years. And still, I had to call one of my friends today. I had to call and get a number for a producer of a well-known radio show because I didn't know who it was. I'm like, Lord, now I got to call. And they don't know me. It's probably going to take 5 calls, 20 emails, and 2 weeks for this person to return my call because they don't know me. But it's okay. I'm still going to keep pressing. I get about 10 no's every day. I just need one yes. Just one yes. And that's in anything you do. Whether you're a new artist, you're the only woman on the boardroom, you're the only Black person in the room, the only white person in the room. Don't let no stop you. Keep going. If you believe in it, if you want it, and if God has told you to do something, do it. Nobody can stop you but you.
I love that. Something you said earlier, I just remember when you said, I said, she's still saying the same thing. I can remember when we were in Las Vegas, and you won this award, and you gave this speech, and what stuck to me most was your heart. You were in tears, and you talked about just the things about what you've seen throughout the years through ministry, and it being supposed to be, a God representative in the earth. And you talked about the importance of having a heart to be good to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you said it again today, being good to people. Like, tell us, because see, a lot of us don't know how to handle people. We've never taught how to handle people. We've learned from our parents or whatever job or who knows who we learned how to handle each other from. So what does that look like to handle people well in our bigness?
Yeah, I think part of the problem with that is that people don't adventure outside of their own box. You can't expect to be able to handle different personalities, different temperaments, different cultures if you stay in the house. If you don't, network, if you don't socialize, if you don't read, if you don't study, I think what has really helped me to be able to be, I guess maybe culturally fluid is I put myself in a lot of different situations. I don't just go to a Black church. I've been to all kinds of churches. From the Methodist to the Catholic. I've been in the Catholic church. I'm like, wow. Being in a multicultural church. I have worked with various different entities. Like I said, now I'm working with Latin Christian artists. I don't really speak Spanish that well. So I'm doing a lot of Google translations but it's teaching me more of their culture and the way they do things in Latin music. And I love it. We have to be selfless in order to understand other people. You can't just think your way is the way. I can't think all the time that my ideas are correct. That what I know is bond, is gold, is it. You have to open yourself up to criticism, open yourself up to the uncomfortable place of meeting new people. Some people don't like to meet new people. Well, how are you going to grow? Like, gosh, people always tell me I'm a social butterfly. Well, how am I going to meet people? I'm not just going to go in a room and stand in a corner. It's uncomfortable. And as easy as it may look, there are times when I'm scared to death and I just have to, all right, go introduce yourself, step up to the plate. I think it just takes courage and it takes people to get outside their own box and meet new people, experience different cultural things, whether it's food, environment, church, music. Quit listening to just, all y'all real spiritual people out there, quit listening to just gospel music. Turn the station to something else. God ain't gonna be mad if you listen to James Taylor, or if you listen, to a country station, or if you turn over to classical music. Get some culture in your life, grow, evolve. The more we evolve as people, the more we're able to handle people. I can truly say that I can sit at the table with bishops and high esteemed pastors, or I can go back to my little country town of Elizabethton and go to Walmart with flip flops on and a bandana and be fine. And I'm good with that. It's because I've been able to get out, and it's not just because the world has let me out and that, this thing's happened. No, I choose to network with people. I choose to reach out and meet other people. I choose to read about other cultures. I choose to watch something on television besides Tyler Perry. Expand your horizons, and it'll help you deal with people, because people are rude, people are nasty, but behind that usually is hurt and pain. So to be able to handle rude and nasty people, a lot of times you just have to be empathetic. It just means that, every time I'm in Walmart, my daughter used to just cringe. If the Walmart checkout person did not greet me or smile at me, I was all up in her face. Like, excuse me, hi. This is your job. Be nice to me. If not, I'm going to smile until you smile back at me. And it's not me being mean. It's me reaching out to that person. Maybe they are having an awful day, and every person in their checkout line has been rude to them. Well, guess what? I'm going to be like, girl, how you doing? Your nails are pretty. Girl, you okay? Is it time for your break yet? That's what it takes. People just need to be a little more empathetic to people. And you would be surprised where that takes you, from the Walmart checkout line to the boardroom. Just be empathetic and be bold. Be bold enough to step out and make the connection with people.
I know your daughter. I can feel her. I know wherever we went, Benita is going to make. I think what I love most about you was your ability to let people know that you see them. That's rare today. But you would absolutely, everyone, like, you meet no strangers, and you genuinely, like, you weren't just doing it just to say, this is something I do. It was because of your bigness, because of who you are. Yeah. So it's getting close to our time to close out. Can you just share with someone, like, what is the next step? We're going to get your book. I'm going to drop that into the comment section for anyone who wants to go ahead and get the book.
Here it is, Born to Be.
Born to
the
Be.
Book. It's on my website, and it's on Amazon.
Okay, if you want to, what do you tell them if they say, okay, Benita, I heard you. I'm going through such a difficult time. I love what you said, because I can identify. I've been divorced, or I made this mistake, or I may have lost my integrity because I decided I thought that was the only way that I could, get what I wanted. I didn't have good character within myself at that moment. How do they get on track with the Born to Be type of journey of life, besides getting your book? I placed her book into the comment section for those who want to get that book. It's out there on all outlets, as she mentioned. It's on her website. It's on. She has a specific website just for Born to Be, as
Yes.
well as the Bellamy Group, and then of course Amazon and all the other outlets. So can you close us out with some young woman, some young man, some old woman, old man, whoever? Just talk to us like from the heart. How do we get into our beingness?
Yeah. Well, first of all, is the first step is realizing where you are.
That's good.
Um, just call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is good, whatever is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Call it what it is. What you did, what you done.
Mm-hmm.
Call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Own it.
Love that.
And promise yourself first, if it is negative, if it is bad, if it is something that is not good, promise yourself not to do it again. And then go to God. God is real, people. Talk to him and let him fix it. A lot of things we cannot fix. We can't. I've tried to fix a bunch of stuff. I can't fix it. You got to let God fix it. And you have to trust that he will fix it and get out of the way. That's really, the most important thing for us whenever we have some setbacks or challenges is to identify it, ask for forgiveness for it, give it to God, let him fix it, and we move forward. We move forward with being stronger, being a little bit wiser. And again, you have to choose the right path. You have to choose not to do it again. You have to choose to not let defeat define you. You have to choose to win. I can't win for you. Josilyn can't win for you. It's up to you. You've got to do it. Nobody can make your life better besides God and you. It's a partnership. Both of y'all are in it. And if one defaults, it ain't going to work. And God ain't going to default. God does not default. So you have to choose to endure through it. You got to choose to rise above it. And you got to choose to win. And I say that there's weight behind that because I've been through stuff I've had to endure that has taken me out, that has just crushed me. I've had to figure out how to rise and be resilient and how to figure out how do I bounce back? How do I get my dignity back? How do I save the car? How do I save the house? How do I do this? And then you have to walk with God and win. And it sounds easy. I know it's hard. I do. I get it. It can be tough, but you can do it. Surround yourself with some good people too. I know a gazillion amount of people from all over the world, but I got about 3 full friends that can check me any day, and they do. And I can go to them and cry. I can go to them and cuss. I can go to them and just kind of help me keep on track. And I cling to my husband. We keep each other on point. You have to, like I said, choose to win. Surround yourself with good people, and always, 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 always just, count on God. He will not fail you. He will not fail you. So.
That was phenomenal, guys. I always believe in next steps. Like when you take a step and you complete that one, then you figure, okay, what is the next step? Sometimes the journey just seems way off. Sometimes the journey seems like it's going to be humongous. You eat that elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And so Benita, what she has done today, she's given us steps. That's the key to moving forward. That's the key to winning is having the steps of the strategies of what I do next. And so I'm going to repeat what she said to us. She said, first, you got to call it what it is. That's going to be key. They tell alcoholics until you can say that you are one.
Yeah.
You can't
it's
move.
Real.
You can't move forward. So you got to call it like it is. If I've been, a liar, I've been a cheater, adulterer, whatever it is, call it what it is. Like, don't put that on. Don't let people say, "Oh, we ain't worried about sin." If in God's sight it's sin, it is sin. Call it what it is, and then receive that healing. Just to be able to say that to yourself, be real, true with you, like that. That's huge. That's half of the battle, actually.
Right.
And then once you do that, you make a promise, make a covenant with yourself that I'm not going to do that again. And of course, we know we can make covenants, we can break promises to ourselves. And if you do, come back, do the same thing, ask for forgiveness, and then ask for the strength to not to do that thing again. Because a lot of times, sometimes we've gotten ourselves so entangled with stuff that it's too deep for us to unentangle ourselves.
Right.
Then you go to God and allow him to fix it. And what that simply means is he fixes it by fixing us. So that means that we need to allow him to do some things on the inside of us. And when we look up, life's going to look different. And from that place, you begin to move forward. And then you have choices after that. You got to choose to endure. As she mentioned, it is not going to be easy. It is not. It is not. But endurance will help you push through. And then something she read in the book is about rising. Like, you got to choose. You're going to rise. All of this is to win. It's about winning. Like, if you're in the Lord, if you're a Christian, you know, our story's already written. We already won. That's a given.
Yep. Amen.
But we have to take steps every day towards that finish line. And so these are some steps for you and for me and for all of us to begin to do. And her last thing that she shared with us, which is very key, surround yourself with good people. People that you can allow to be accountable to. You can't be accountable to everybody because they don't have standards for you to be accountable to. You need some people who are not so impressed with you.
Amen. Yes.
That's going to tell you the truth, you know? And in that you'll be kept and be able to catapult yourself and become everything that the Lord has designed for you to be. Benita.
That's good. That's so good. This makes me want to cry.
Thank you so much for taking the time out with us.
This is so great.
Oh man, you have really, really, really blessed us. And it was a heart thing. It wasn't a head thing. Like, it's a heart thing. We really felt it. And I believe that you are healing your words. The Lord allowed to heal some hearts and to give some people some hope and encourage and to motivate us. You know, when we see you now and see all the things that you're doing, and we can say, okay, that encourages me. If she can go through that and then still be who she is today, then surely I can too.
Yeah.
Thank you for not quitting. Thank you for having the courage to even share your story. Thank you for your transparency.
Indeed, yeah. I love it. I think that's the only way we can help each other is be transparent and be real. So thank you for even allowing me on your feed today, girl. Thank you for allowing me to be on the show. I really appreciate this. This has been fun.
It is an honor. And we, ladies and gentlemen, it's for all of us. Go get the book. It's a 30-day. And like we mentioned earlier, you do those 30 days and you pick it up and you do it again until you are absolutely being who God ordained and destined you to be. Thank you so much all for tuning in to the Josilyn Drake Show. This is actually the last episode of season 3. I will see you all on the other side of 2021. I appreciate you so much, so much. If the Lord's will, I will see you on the other side of 2021.
Right.
But thank you so much for tuning in. It is my hope that what we have shared throughout this season has encouraged you, that it has built you up, that it has motivated you, that it has enlightened you, and given you ability to see that, hey, I can be, I can do, I can become. And once again, thank you for tuning in. We will see you in January 2021. God bless you. Bye-bye.